This episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by Core Group and The Collective by Core 2025. The Collective 2025 will be an experience you do not want to miss. From strategy to certification, the 2025 Collective Agenda delivers conversations worth having. Don't miss this once-a-year opportunity to learn, grow, rub shoulders with the best in the restoration world, and see what Core has up its sleeves. You will leave refreshed, challenged, inspired, and maybe a little tired. Live in Austin in early August, visit thecollectivebycore.com for more information. Hey restorers, welcome to a fresh episode of the Restoration Today podcast. I'm on the road again. We are at the Violand Executive Summit. Lots of restorers here taking classes. Katie was just sitting in an AI class this morning. There's lots of different topics happening. So
digital marketing, all kinds of good stuff.
HR, business planning.
Leadership, finance.
Anything that you want to learn about, it's here, and lots of restorers. So Katie Smith is with me. She's with PHC Restoration. She's former RA board president, heavily involved in the industry, a close friend of mine as well. So I am excited to have her here. It's been a while since she's been on the podcast, and we are going to talk about, well, first I want you to introduce yourself and share the story of PHC, because you're a second generation owner, and the journey that it's taken to get to owner, as much as you want to share or don't want to share.
Sure.
But share your journey in the industry.
Concise version. This is my 20th year in restoration.
Woo-hoo.
I'm celebrating 20 years in the restoration industry. I studied broadcasting in college and worked in morning radio and just did not see myself there for the long term. My dad approached me one day about joining our family business. I did, and he retired probably about 15 years ago. My husband ended up joining me in the business as well, and as most second-gen kids will tell you, it's a rocky road, and I learned a lot of lessons through that. Had a lot of failures as well, and I learned a lot from that experience. But the thing that really helped me tremendously is getting into a network of other restorers, whether that's RIA. I have a regional group, Mid-South Cleaning and Restoration. Violand has helped me tremendously. Some of my fellow RIA board members have really poured into me and mentored me over the years. So my relationships with other restorers have been what has really set me up to thrive in a really difficult industry.
I don't think either of us can overemphasize the importance of getting to some industry events and making sure that you're meeting others. Like, most restorers that you meet are going to be willing to talk about their businesses and share insights with you, especially because people are in different markets. And so, yeah, both of us have a lot of my friends in the industry, and I think same as you, have been made through events like Violand or RIA or regional events where it's maybe a smaller, more tight-knit group. And
yes, and I'm from a small town in North Carolina, and I feel like a lot of times in my area, there's not a lot of people who really understand the complexities of our business. Business is business, I get it, but there's a lot of things that we have to deal with as restorers that I just don't think a lot of people get. And these people get me, and that's why I love just being in fellowship with other people who do what I do and really share that desire to make a difference in our industry.
Yes, absolutely. So you've kind of gone through an evolution over the last, 5 or 7 years, I would say, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not, maybe 10 years, but you're a very purpose-driven leader. You are very thoughtful about everything that goes into your company, every person that you hire, every decision that you make. You're very thoughtful about that. So talk about kind of the transformation that you've gone through and how that's helped your business kind of take off and excel, especially in, a lot of people are talking about now, and you and I talk about this all the time, the industry's down, right? But not everybody's feeling that. And a lot of that goes into how you've built your business, I think. So talk about kind of your growth trajectory.
Yeah, there's definitely a narrative right now in our industry. The claims are down, everybody's slow, and look, core value for me, humility is a core value, and I'm going to approach this conversation today with humility. So anything I say today is not done to make anyone angry. And candor is also a core value for me. So it's really I care about restorers tremendously, and I just want to maybe, I spend a lot of time in reflection after you've been asking me for over a year now, like, you're not slow, Katie, what's going on? And I've talked to other people who are not slow either. So we've really been trying to piece together a few things. And you and I went on a very early morning walk this morning, and you asked me about some of these things. And I've already said I've failed a lot and I've learned a lot. And Michelle is saying like past 5 to 7 years, I've made a lot of big changes in my life as well that have given me a lot of clarity and just make me approach business and life and relationships differently.
Yeah.
So some of the things, like I think one of the biggest things we talk about is being purpose-driven.
Yes.
And when you shift your perspective on your business from like, how much money can I make from this? What can I buy? What kind of truck and toys can I buy with this? And it's more about stuff and profit is important. Totally. But money is not the driver. And when you're a purpose-driven leader and you're a purpose-driven company where everybody there understands your why and your mission and why you do what you do every day. And then really just thinking about it from the standpoint, and I don't mean because I'm a second generation, I just mean that everything that's been entrusted to you, you have a duty to be a good steward of it.
Yes.
And so what is the point if all of these resources that you have available to you, if you're not using them to pour into others and make an impact in your business with the people you're responsible for, your customers, and the community that supports your business? And so I think, first and foremost, it's not just about making money.
Yes.
And if you're always just chasing that, then you're always going to be stressed.
And it's also never going to be enough.
No.
You're going to set a milestone and you're going to reach it and be like, well, that.
And then the goalpost just moves.
Yes, and it doesn't mean anything when you make it.
You're right.
So
you're right.
Yeah.
You got to think like, how many lives can I change with what I have? And then that to me is a big pivotal moment of shifting the way you think.
So what were some things that changed for you to become a more purpose-driven leader? How did your focus change from maybe bottom line to more purpose-driven, focused on people, focused on, how did your core values change?
Okay, I think, are you talking about when I quit drinking like 7 years ago? Is that one of the things we're talking about? Like,
I mean, not
because I did that.
Not necessarily, but I feel like that was a moment in your life where you did pivot. I think that was like, I think we all have these moments where it's like, okay, I'm realizing I'm not going in the direction that I want, so I need to reevaluate my life. And I think that was a teeny part of it, but I think that there was a lot going on in that phase that caused you to change direction.
Yeah, I went through a phase where I hired the wrong people to help me run my business, and that caused a lot of damage. And I just remember ending the year, like December, which is already a stressful month. So, you're already thinking about how you're going to end up, and knowing it's going to be a crash and burn year because every month before it was a failure. And just kind of having this, oh crap moment of, wow, we have really completely screwed this up, because we grew really fast.
Yes.
And I thought that was because of how amazing I was, clearly.
Clearly.
And my ego got out of control. And I, in turn, became out of control as a leader and thought that I was in control of everything that happened. And it just kind of spiraled and got worse from there. And the wrong people that I hired to help me run my business, in turn, hired more wrong people to help, build the business. And so my husband and I both had to like take it down and back to the basics and rebuild, because I'm really not even sure how we were able to keep going when I look at how much money we lost.
This is what I was talking about. It really was like, the drinking was a teeny part, but it was this phase.
I remember in this stage, it's like 2016 time frame, we had a major catastrophe. I wasn't prepared for that. And that was my first big catastrophe, a hurricane that came to our town. And that was in the late fall, and then by December, I was just a mess, and I was crying. My husband said, go get in the truck with me, you're going to ride around with me today. And I would just be like, crying, like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what I'm doing. And I was just kind of falling apart. But I really just think that was an eye-opening period of transformation for me to be able to look at my life and my business and like look at the ruins around me and say, like, I caused this and I cannot control everything. And then that's when I just had a spiritual transformation at that time and realized, like, all right, I've got to surrender this and really, dig into my faith again and just kind of rediscover why I've been put on this earth and what it is I'm supposed to be doing here, and realizing I hadn't done it right the first, 10 years.
It's a good thing we get multiple chances. We are allowed to reiterate and make mistakes and learn.
Yes. And so we kind of cleaned house, really just took it back down to very basics. And we talk about the basics still all the time, but knew that we couldn't grow it or scale it until we grew as leaders And we really defined who we were and what's most important to us, why we were there every day, and what we were doing, which was so much more than just restoring damaged property. So I had to really, really work on myself as an individual. And so I think the point of all of this is that your business is a reflection of you and your leadership, period. And your business is only going to be as healthy as you are mentally, physically, and spiritually. And until you really get those pillars all aligned and make sure that you take care of you as a leader, you cannot do anything else in a meaningful, fulfilling way. Yeah. Because it's like you got to put, I know it's an old cliche, you have to put that oxygen mask on first. And so some of that is just looking at your routines. I start my morning very early. Shout out to my husband, Josh, who places a cup of coffee on my nightstand every morning at 5:15. Thank you.
Yes, good job, Josh.
But, it's like starting off with devotions, prayer, like really looking, this is my planner. I love it. I have it with me everywhere. But I'm planning, first off, I'm starting off with what I'm grateful for every day. Gratitude is something that's really changed the way I think. And just looking at my schedule, my calendar, my time, and like the free time I have, and then what must get done, what the priorities are for the day, and approaching every day with a solid plan, but also approaching every day with a clear, just clarity. Yeah. And after just surrendering all the stuff I cannot control, that was a really big thing that I had to figure out. Like, I am not in control.
Yes.
There's some things that I can do, and that's great. I'm gonna do the best I can, but also acknowledging all of these other things, I can't control them. Yep. And that was really an epiphany for me. And even when you're at an event like this, right? Look, restorers have fun. And I have been known to be having the most fun of all of them. But as you start to work on these areas of your business and of your life, you realize when they say go the extra mile, it's never crowded. So it's the crowding a lot of times is going to be in the bar burning it down till 2 a.m. But you go to the gym the next morning, it's a ghost town, right? Yep. It's not always a ghost town, but you got your little peers in there that you know who's going to be there. But it's taking care of yourself is the most important thing you can do as a leader. And I just see a lot of, because I've seen it in myself first, of just a lot of kind of reckless behavior when it comes to taking care of yourself, and then looking around you and be like, why is everything around me falling apart? Yeah. And a lot of times it's because you might be falling apart and maybe just afraid to acknowledge it, like I surely was.
Yes, that makes good sense. So you've put a lot into developing what you're talking about, being a purpose-driven leader. So you put a lot into developing yourself and your leadership team. So talk a little bit about that, some of your favorite resources, some of the things that you've gotten involved in, I feel like you spend a little bit of time every single day doing something to build yourself as a leader. And a lot of leaders are I don't have time for that. So how do you prioritize it? What do you do? What's important to you?
I read a lot, but as I told you this morning, I had to cut myself off from buying books because I'm that scholar that has the stack of books. Same. So I have kind of turned to more podcast learning this year, but as a young person, I was not an avid learner. I just, whatever. But it clicked for me later, and I realized the more I could pour into the resources available to me, that I could read and study how to build a business, how to be a leader, how to lead other people. One of my best resources would be my Bible. Read it front to back twice in the last couple of years, because it's those Proverbs especially. Just in Warner Cruz, no, Kent Rawhauser was the one. I told Warner about this, but Kent Rawhauser told me, he gave me a Bible for a gift, and he said, one of the things I like to do is, you got 31 days in a month. He said there's 31 Proverbs, read one a day. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's great. So there's really been some epiphanies that have occurred just by reading some of those. And they hit you at different times of your life. But so we as leaders, we read a lot, we study a lot. We use different tools to help us learn about how we're created and our strengths, our blind spots, how we communicate with each other. We use that quite a bit. But even in our monthly meetings, we're always taking, sometimes we do what we call Wellness Wednesdays. We may be talking about financial health, mental, physical, spiritual health, sharing resources that help people, little nuggets that help people be the best version of themselves. Sometimes it's looking at how much money did you spend going out to eat? Because I rarely go out for lunch. I cook. So we look at how much money the average person spends on lunches every month. And then we look at, but you could take this, put it into your retirement account, and then I'll match this amount. And over X amount of years, here's how much money you could have had just from not packing lunches. So maybe we try to make information accessible for every education level. It's, it's not like some master's level stuff that we're studying. It's really just good human practice, but at a very basic level that everybody can understand.
Yes. Okay. I'm trying to decide what else I want to talk to you about.
You said leadership team, and I find this a lot. I love EOS. I'm a big fan of that. And I've heard a lot of restorers tell me, like, I don't even know who my leadership team was. And I did not either before we started EOS. I knew people who I depended on heavily, but I had not established a leadership team. And so I think doing that and making sure you have the right people in the right seats all the time in every role. There's a couple that are a little bit more critical, but that right people, right seat component, but having an identified leadership team, and then having those quarterly resets where you are going off site every 90 days and looking at what's changed, what the trends are, what's most important to your business, what you've got to get done in the next 90 days to keep moving forward and remove the hurdles and the obstacles in the way. That to me is one of the most critical things that you can do in your business. And a lot of people say, you go off site for 5 days a year? I'm like, yes, absolutely, we do. And especially towards the end of the year, like October, November, when we're making a plan for the next year, I'm taking the resources that you provide, like the State of the Industry report, which is amazing. And if you're not downloading it and reading it and pouring into it and pulling out, this is a great idea. I have this problem too. Here's what I can do about it. And then RIA's cost of doing business report, both of those powered by know-how. Those are two critical pieces of information that you should be using in your business to be able to anticipate the trends. And, even with your customers, seeing what's happening in the world of insurance and how that impacts the consumer and how that impacts your payment timelines. Like, always pay attention to what's happening around you and being able to keep your mind clear to be able to like cut through all the clutter and see how this is going to impact my business in a year, 3 years, 5 years, and making a plan to get ready for it now instead of like being blindsided and then trying to figure out what do I do next. Like, be ready for it.
Yes. Okay, this doesn't need to be a long part of the conversation, but people complain about, it's so hard to get paid, or if they're doing program work, which PHC does not, the way that they get paid is different. So you invoice customers directly, and that's how you get paid. So what would you tell restorers out there who are like, I would really like to go that route, but I am scared to death that we're going to lose customers if I'm trying to invoice them and get all of this money from them?
So a couple of things I see now, like we do invoice the customer, but we also understand that they're going to receive a check from the carrier. They're going to sign that over to us or ACH it, whatever. Our payment timeline is like last month it was 42 days. So it averages about 40 days. Our AR over 90 days is always under 10%. Rarely, it'll go maybe 1 month, but we had to get really good at collecting money. Again, everything goes back to having the right people in the right seats, period. But in this case, there's a couple of things. We have to acknowledge that you have to be really good at scoping and at estimating and at documentation. And if you don't have those things buttoned up, you're always going to have a hard time getting paid. So even if you're not on TPAs, if you're dealing with these reviews that are going out to third parties, you got to be ready for those. And you got to get really good at justifying your invoice. And it's got to be backed with solid documentation. And day one, or even during the interview, you're telling your technicians, look, if we didn't take a photo of it, we don't get paid for it. So like, tell me some time in your previous experience where you've had to document work. So we're starting that conversation early on. So that is a critical component of it. But some of the things that we do, I know people do it differently. I know a lot of people have their accounting team, like an ARAP person that works in the accounting team. Our admin team is the one driving receipt or collections. But the coordinators are the ones who are taking on that job, and they're supporting the PMs. But as soon as the agreement is signed, they send out this templated communication to the customer, welcoming them, and then letting them know, here's what to expect, here's FAQs, here's how you might get paid. Like, because it's different. Mortgage companies may be involved. I hear a lot of people complain about mortgage companies, and yes, that it can be difficult, but you have to be really good administratively when it comes to collecting money. And so you can have a lower AR or turn on AR even with dealing with mortgage companies on your own, but you have to have processes in place, and you have to pay attention to your receivables every day, every week. You have to have a routine and a rhythm, good communication that you're following, and setting the expectation with the customer. If we do not get paid, here is what will happen, and at what point in time it will happen. So even if you do have to take action to collect the money, you're not blindsiding your customer. So you have to be able to turn your customer into a raving fan who will do whatever it will take to get you paid. And so if you're not providing a great experience to your customer, they don't care about you getting paid quickly.
No. If you've made it miserable for them, they really
it's not a priority for them to get paid.
And
like making it easy for people to get paid, like, sometimes it's as easy as picking up a check when you're there, but whether it's ACH, whatever, but just thinking about you, like, put yourself in the customer's shoes. You are so busy. A lot of people do not write checks today, right? So like, don't be expecting them to mail you in. Like, who keeps envelopes and stamps around the house? Like,
they might not have checks.
Just thinking about how our lives have changed, how busy we are. If you don't make it incredibly easy for someone to pay you, don't expect to collect money quickly.
Yes, I agree. I was thinking through the loss that we had. That was a year and a half ago now.
The one where you FaceTimed with us?
Yes. I'm like, just
on Christmas Eve.
Help. Yeah, that one. Yes. Because there were two. Because there was like the water coming through the light that ended up coming from the outside, and then the actual loss is fine. It's a sketchy period. Fine. But our restorer did do it the same way you did, where it was our PM and the coordinator that were collecting the checks and following up on things. I never heard from an accounting person. I never heard from anybody outside of like the team that was specifically working on our house. And it was nice that way. And they set the expectations early.
Yeah,
like
you got to communicate.
And I had a folder full of documentation, and like I knew exactly what to expect.
Exactly.
And I was thankful for that. Okay, this is pivoting a little bit, but yes. So you have been a big voice and advocate for other independent restorers in a wave when the industry has consolidated significantly. I think that has really slowed down very significantly in the last
I wish those
year.
emails to my inbox would slow down.
I know that has not slowed down, but the transactions have slowed down. So talk about what it's been like maybe the last 3 to 5 years wading through this big M&A, this consolidation, knowing when it was right to stay the course. This is the direction of our business.
Yeah.
These are our core values. We're not looking for PE backing or to sell or whatever that may be. So staying independent and true to your path.
Okay. Well, I think that we're humans. There's a FOMO component here.
Yes.
And a lot of people saw a lot of consolidation happening, a lot of people selling their businesses. And I think some of those transactions were approached from the standpoint of, if I don't get in on this now, I might never.
Some of the multiples were wild for a while.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, though, in my market, over the past 10 plus years, I've seen a lot of transactions take place, and I've seen really great independents just become nothing. Like they're no more, and it's really sad. But I just had a front row seat to a lot of this, and I saw a lot of really bad deals. I've seen a lot of people lose a lot. I've seen a lot of people lose purpose and passion, and I've seen what they have built over decades be destroyed by private equity. Let's just be honest, that is what's happening. And not every PE group is going to do that. I get that, but I see what's happening right now, and it's just, I think that independents have a big opportunity to really build a strong business right now. So I think that there's a lot of us, I know this is not just me, but when your major competitors are being acquired, that is one of the biggest competitive advantages that you will have for the next 2 to 5 years. So you really need to capitalize on that, be ready to take advantage of it, and just be ready, because you just naturally, your business will grow. So I think I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm not ready to exit yet, but I don't even like looking at my inbox anymore. I don't like answering phone calls anymore, because it's just, we can get an LOI to you in 2 hours, and it's pathetic. And I'm concerned, because I see what it takes to build a great business, and more than anything, it's about the people in those businesses. And unfortunately, I have seen so much turnover, so many layoffs, so many people have their lives upended, and they've given everything to an organization. And to see it change it's for the worse. I hate that. I will also say very clearly that there are some really good success stories that I'm seeing too. And so I, like most restorers, I'm watching, I'm observing, I'm talking to different people, just hearing their stories and their perspectives and learning, and just really making a mental note. But who you partner with is so important. It is. And, I think everybody talks about culture, and that's always a big thing that, people want to tell you is the culture stays the same, or we want people with great cultures. But when you take a large group of individuals and then put them all together, mash it all up, you're getting a whole lot of different cultures. And if you're not really intentional about creating a new culture that really blends everyone in all together. Again, I think in the beginning of this episode, Michelle, we talked about how it's about more than just making money. Yeah. Right? And what I can't see is people creating a compelling vision to me other than, we'll sell it again in 5 years and you'll make more money. Maybe you will, or you might not. Maybe not. You might not. I just think you have to, you've got to just explore all your options if that's where you are really. And, there's a lot of our businesses have really amazing people in them, and just seeing how they can take your business and grow it. But don't have FOMO. Don't ever make a decision because you think you're I'm looking at the camera now. Don't ever. Don't do it. Look, this was never great for me as a young person, but I never did what everybody else was doing. I never wanted to, I was so stubborn about it. And I think same concept here. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. So I don't. Sounds just like you. Yes, yes. Any tidbits of advice for working with a spouse? There's a lot of those in the industry. You don't have to give a ton, but just a couple, here's how Josh and I keep sane and still love each other at the end of the day. Yeah. Your relationship is number one. Your business is not. Your business is only as strong as your marriage. That's look, your business is only as healthy as you. It's only as strong as your marriage. And I'm going to do something with Tim and JT on this one as well. But so I've already started thinking about it. But really, I think over the years, you have to have lanes. You've got to have very clear roles and responsibilities, and your people need to know Katie does this, Josh does this, and making sure that they know who to go to for what. Because if not, they'll play you like parents. Yes, 100%. It's but also no different than your business. Your relationship should be rooted in purpose and goals, and knowing what you want to do, and the impact you want, and the legacy you want to leave behind, and that is just a commitment. I mean, it just takes a commitment. That's it. Okay, before we wrap it up, talk about the power of saying no. It's a good one, and we all need to learn to say no, no matter what kind of business you own or where you are at in a business. Learning as a human, you have to know how to say no. I'm working on that one. Kill me or stop me before I volunteer again. That's my catchphrase. Saying no. I think the class I was in yesterday, we talked about leads, and I think maybe tracking leads and seeing how many you get, how many you accept, how many you reject, and understanding it's okay to not have a really high number. You probably shouldn't have a really high number. If you are selective, you know what's a fit for you and you know what you're trying to get. So I think ours was like maybe 55% accepted, maybe.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that because I know what it takes to meet the goal every month.
Yep.
I know what's going to be profitable. I know, or we train on this, like we know what's a red flag, right? And the intake process is critical to your business.
Yep.
And that person answering the phone in our business, they're called the director of first impressions. But we use Jotform for this, and there's a script that you're following, and there are some very key critical questions that you're asking. And then most importantly, you have to define, like we do have a lead scorecard that you can use to score the lead and determine, like, if it's this number to that number, you say no. If it's this number to this number, maybe it needs more consideration, or this and above, go, right? And never just leave a customer hanging without a referral to someone else. You always point them in the direction of someone who can help them, even if you don't help them. That's important because you're still delivering an excellent experience to someone because they took the time to call you, and they may have a good fit for you down the road. But really just thinking about, there's some key terms that we use, like sudden damage. Sudden damage. We are always saying sudden damage and specialty focus. Like our specialty focus is this, and making sure that we don't let the customer leave feeling like we didn't want them, but that we took the time to say, like, I'm sorry, this is not what we specialize in, and making sure that you really have a very clearly defined ideal customer, like all the demographics, the psychographics, all of those things. If you don't know who your customer is, then you say yes to everybody.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, you cannot be everything to everyone.
No.
In life or in business.
Amen to that. Wise words. Anything final you want to say, or are we going to end it on like those brilliant words?
I think that's it. Gosh, I don't think I could do better than that.
Yeah, you did really good.
You can't be everything to everyone.
You cannot.
Just be the best you can be.
That's a great motto to take through all parts of life, not just business.
Yeah.
So, well, Katie, thank you so much. Always nice to see you.
Thank
I'm glad
you.
that you flew to Canton. Good luck getting home.
Thank you.
Thanks.
For more Restoration Today and the latest news, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, and find the latest episodes of the Restoration Today podcast on your favorite podcasting platform.